Hey guys, it's Miss Jones. Today I want to make a video and go over our next informational text. So on Tuesday, we all know that we talked about three different types of informational text. We talked about historical, which is text that tells about a certain time or historical event that already happened or a person. We talked about technical, which is telling us how to do something. It's giving us instructions, directions, steps, things like that. And then scientific, which is talking about like a scientific concept or some type of scientific subject. It could be about water cycle, it could be about rocks, it could be about volcanoes, it could be really about anything. So yeah, so we talked about those three things. And then yesterday, you should have done an activity and watched the video of me going over historical text in more depth, and we did an activity with it. Um, so today, we're going to do that same thing, but with technical text. So let's go ahead and jump on in. Technical text. So technical texts are informational texts, we knew that already, that tell how to complete tasks. So it'll give us a set of directions, and a set of directions is a type of technical text. So directions are often written in steps or procedures. The steps are sometimes accompanied by diagrams or pictures to help the reader complete the steps. So sometimes with technical text, you'll see a picture of something, or like in recipes, it might give you a picture of each step, and so you can make sure you're doing it right. So technical texts are written in sequential order. And what that means is it's written in a specific order, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And if you go out of that order, it's going to mess things up. So sequential order tells the order or sequence you should follow. So like I said, it's a very specific way of doing things. And if you don't do it that way, it might mess up what you're trying to make. So while reading technical text, ask yourself, what are the directions telling me to do? So what am I going to do? Why are the directions telling me to do each step? Why is each step important? So let's look at this, how to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. So step one is gather the ingredients. So we need to gather the ingredients. Step one. Step one. Step two is spread 1 tablespoon of peanut butter onto the bread. So we're going to spread the peanut butter on the bread. Step three is spread 1 teaspoon of jelly. So a teaspoon of jelly on the bread. And step four is put 2 of the slices together. So putting that peanut butter slice and that jelly slice and putting them together. And then step 5 is to enjoy your meal. So let's look at that. Let's look at what are the directions telling me to do? So what is this telling us to do? Let's look in this right here in this title. What is that telling us? It tells us right here the answer, how to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. So the directions are telling us how to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Step two, what are the directions telling me to do in each step? So why are the directions telling me to do each step? Because we need to know how to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. If someone has never, ever, ever, ever made a peanut butter and jelly sandwich before, and you just tell them, hey, go make me a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, are they going to know how to do it? Probably not if they've never done it before. So we need to tell them how to do it. So we tell them, okay, you need to gather all the ingredients. Make sure we tell them what the ingredients are. Then we need to put them together. So teaspoon of butter on here, teaspoon of jelly on this one, and then put them together and you're done, right? So the directions are important. What happens if I just skip to number 4? If I do number 4 first? What do you think will happen? What do you think? Yeah, if I put 2 pieces of bread together and just go straight to number 4, there's not going to be any peanut butter or any jelly. It's going to be 2 pieces of bread pushed together. And that is not a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. What if I just skip to step 5? And I'm just like, I'm just going to eat this bread, if I even have any bread. Because we hadn't gathered ingredients yet. We haven't put anything on the bread. So how can I enjoy it if there's nothing to enjoy, right? All right, so let's look at our first article. So this is our technical text, making a PB&J. So it says, ever made a peanut butter and jelly sandwich? There are several more steps to making a PB&J than you may think. Many steps must be followed in order to make the sandwich and pick up afterwards so that there isn't a large mess remaining when you are finished. The first step in making a PB&J is to get all the necessary ingredients from the pantry and refrigerator, which would be bread, peanut butter, and jelly. If you don't have these items, you're going to need to take a trip to the grocery store. Next, you need to open the bread bag, get out 2 pieces of bread, and close the bread bag to prevent the bread from getting stale. Lay out the 2 pieces of bread on a napkin or plate. Then you will lather peanut butter on 1 piece of bread and jelly on the other piece of bread. You can put as much or as little peanut butter and jelly on your bread slices as you would like. You will then place 1 piece of bread on top of the other to create your sandwich. Don't forget you will have to clean off your knife and put it in the sink. You will also need to put the lid on the peanut butter and the lid on the jelly so that they don't go bad. Then your jelly will go back to the refrigerator and your peanut butter and bread will go back into the pantry. Cleaning up is a very important step in making food. Now you can eat your delicious PB&J. All right, so we just learned how to make a PB&J sandwich. So let's look at these questions. It says number 1, what would happen without that first step? What would happen without the first step? Well, first we need to find out what the first step is, right? So I'm going to take my highlighter and I'm going to, right here, it says the first step. If I can make this, right? The first step. So the first step in making a PB&J is to get all of the necessary ingredients from the pantry and refrigerator. Yeah, so our first step is to get all the ingredients. So we got all the ingredients. What would happen if we just skipped first step without, we just skipped it. We didn't even do it. What would happen? What do you think? Write this down in your notebook. Go ahead and pause the video, take a second, and write down your answer in your notebook. What do you think would happen without that first step? What do you think? All right, if you need more time, pause the video and go ahead and complete it. All right, so without that first step, if we don't complete that first step, then we won't have anything to make the peanut butter and jelly sandwich with. If we don't go get our peanut butter and jelly and bread, then we can't make a sandwich, right? So that first step is very important. All right, look at number 2. It says explain 2 of the middle steps. So let's go back over here and look at our middle step. So let's see, next you need to open the bread bag, get out 2 pieces of bread, and close the bread bag to prevent the bread from getting stale. I'm very sorry about my highlighting. It's very out of wonky. Right. Lay out the 2 pieces of bread on a napkin or a plate. Okay, so there's one of our steps, right? Well, that's 2, right? So let's look at those 2. And you can look at any of the ones in the middle if you want, but let's look at these 2 specifically. So the first one says we need to open the bread bag and get our 2 pieces of bread and then close it. Okay? Then our next step is to lay it out on a napkin or a plate. So let's explain it. So what's happening? What's happening? So take a step, take a minute, pause the video if you need. Write down your notebook, explain those 2 steps. Tell me what those 2 steps are again. So those 2 steps we just highlighted, what are they? Pause the video if you need to. All right, so those 2 steps, right? We're gonna explain them. We need to open the bread bag, get out 2 pieces of bread, and then close it so it doesn't get bad. And then we lay them down on a napkin or a plate. That's it. You can do any of those, the other steps in here, but we just picked those because they were right there. All right, let's look at number 3. Explain why it's important to always do the cleanup steps. So why is it important to clean up after yourself? Let's see if we can find that answer in the text, right? So right here it says cleaning up is a very important step in making food. But why? Why is cleaning up a very important step? If you know, go ahead and write it down. Go ahead and write it down in your notebook. This should be important because we should all clean up our food after we make something in our kitchen. If you look right here in the first paragraph, it says Many steps must be followed in order to make the sandwich and pick up afterwards so that there isn't a large mess remaining when you are finished. So right there, so we need to pick up afterwards so there isn't a large mess remaining when we're finished, right? Great. All right, let's look at number 4. Which step do you think is the most important and why? What do you think is the most important? Go ahead and write your answer in your notebook. Which step do you think is the most important? I think the most important step for me would be to get all our ingredients, because if we don't get our ingredients, then we can't make a sandwich and then we can't do anything. So for me, that's the most important step. But for you guys, it may be something different, and that's okay. All right, let's look at number 5. Describe the relationship between the steps in making a PB&J. So let's look closely. If we describe the relation, so the first step is get all our ingredients, right? So we got all our ingredients right here. Next is to get our bread out and lay it down. So we're getting our bread, laying it down. Then we need to put on the peanut butter and jelly, right? And then we're going to place the bread together. Then we need to clean. So think about it. Do you think we can get the bread out of the bag if we hadn't gathered our ingredients yet? Probably not. Do you think we can lay the bread on the napkin if we haven't gotten it out of the bag? Probably not. Do you think we can put peanut butter and jelly on the bread if we haven't gotten it out of the bag and laid it down yet? No. And what if we put 2 pieces of plain bread, no peanut butter, no jelly together? Is that a peanut butter and jelly sandwich? No. And can we clean our kitchen if we didn't make a mess? No. So you see, all the steps are connected in a way. So without the step before it, the next step can't happen. So we need to make sure we do every single step in order to make them all come together. Okay? All right. Do you guys, if you have any questions, then you can just shoot me a message and I'll be sure and help you out as much as I can, okay? On Canvas or on your worksheet, there is another passage that you need to read and questions just like the one we did together. So go ahead and do those for me, okay? Have a great day.